raccoon.
Helping us all take another step toward reducing carbon footprint. So, welcome aboard for an awesome experience that's also awesome for the environment.
Awesome, Al. Thank you. Now, once again, my name is Sydney. I'm going to be your tour guide today. We're joined by our amazing driver, Art. Everybody say hi, Art. And I think it's nice to have a friend out here, so I do have a very exciting co-host on this tour today. You all might recognize him as the star of The Tonight Show, starring Jimmy Fallon, as well as That's My Jam on NBC. You guessed it, it's Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, hey there. You made it. Welcome to the Universal Studio Tour. I'm Jimmy Fallon. I'll be making sure that you get through this experience in one piece. You've got the very best guide.
Sydney.
And the greatest driver.
Art.
You're the best. I love that. Even though
Sydney
owes me $5. I know you guys are excited to get on the tour, but first, a few safety rules.
That's right, Jimmy. Thank you very much. We do have some safety rules to go over today. First, if you need guest assistance or have a medical emergency, if you drop something of value off the side of the tram, or if you have any sound or video issues, reach up and grab the red emergency cord that runs along the center of the ceiling of the tram, and I'll be back to assist you as soon as it's safe to do so. Otherwise, during the entire tour, please remain seated, keeping your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times. The studio is private property, and if at any time during the tour you drop your phone or you just can't wait to use the restroom, pull the cord and remain. We have the pre-production phase, which is things like writing and casting. Production is any action stages here on our lot. This is where we film shows like The Kelly Clarkson Show, Grand Cruise starring Nicole Byer, and Bel Air, which is a dramatic retelling of The Fresh Prince of Bel Air. And speaking of Bel Air, let's hear from a couple of the show's stars, Jabari Banks and Ollie Sholinan.
Can you just grab me water when you can?
So what it is, you put egg on the cheese. You put cheese on the eggs and then you cheese it.
That's right. Whoa, how many seats do you think are in there? I don't know, it's gotta be a lot.
Man, we could probably fit the whole Bel Air cast and crew in there.
No, we gotta get one of these for the mansion.
For sure.
Yo, lucky for y'all, the Banks family mansion lives right here on the Universal lot.
Right. Some of Bel Air's most pivotal scenes have been filmed right here. Jabari, what have been your most memorable moments?
Oh, I don't know, I mean, there's so many to choose from. You know, I love the foyer set when Will first enters and
you can check out shows like The Office and Parks and Recreation on there. You can also watch Quantum Leap, both the original show from the 90s and our brand new reboot of the same name. Oh, and coming up on the left, we have our first celebrity sighting of the day. It's everybody's favorite teddy bear, Ted. Ted's out there toasting us with that super dirty martini because he's really excited to be getting his own show. The show will be streaming soon on Peacock. It's going to be a prequel to the movies that you know and love. These buildings here to our left-hand side are what we call our production bungalows. These were formerly used as dressing rooms for stars like Lucille Ball, Rock Hudson, and Doris Day, but now various production companies use them as their offices. I mentioned that there's 3 phases of production when it comes to making movies and TV shows, and most of that pre-production phase takes place here inside the bungalows. Some of the production companies that use our facilities here are 7 Bucks, which belongs to Dwayne Johnson. They wrote the TV show Young Rock on NBC. We also have Monkey Paw Productions here. That's Jordan Peele's production company. They made the films Get Out, Us, and Nope. And Mark Platt Productions is here on our lot as well. They wrote the film Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and they're currently working on the upcoming film adaptations of Wicked, starring Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, and Academy Award winner Michelle Yeoh. Directors like Alfred Hitchcock also had bungalows here on our lot. Hitchcock's bungalow still stands to this day, and it's currently home to the Dean Laurentiis Company. If I have any horror fans on board, they brought us the story of Hannibal Lecter both to the big and small screen. The last 2 sound stages on our front lot are here to our left-hand side. These are stages 25 and 26, and they're 2 of our newer sound stages. They look a little bit different than the ones that we just passed, and that's because these can be seen in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, as well as Bruce Almighty, starring Jim Carrey and Jennifer Aniston. It gets its name from the brownstone buildings out to the right-hand side of our tram.
Brace the dog!
I'm in the shower!
It's like that. Outside good. It's like that. Outside good. Oh, you're done now. Great. Beautiful.
All of the sets that you see here on Brownstone Street are something that we call facades, which means it's basically just the exterior of a building. These buildings don't really have an interior, or if they do, it's pretty minimal. So we can really only use these sets to film exterior scenes. So the scene that you just saw of Bruce and his dog, all of the exterior scenes were filmed here on Brownstone Street, and the interior scenes of Bruce's apartment were constructed inside our sound stages. The next area of our Metro sets that we're going to see is my personal favorite area out here. This is a spot that we call Courthouse Square. It got its name because it was used as the site of the courthouse in To Kill a Mockingbird. This area is a little bit better recognized, though, as Hill Valley from the Back to the Future films.
Oh, you know that clock, woman, that clock. I don't know. This. No.
City Hall to the left-hand side of our tram was the clock tower in the Back to the Future movies. This area was also used as the town of Kingston Falls in my favorite Christmas movie, Gremlins. Courthouse Square has been seen in quite a few television shows throughout the years as well. Recently, it was used as the town of Rutherford Falls in the show Rutherford Falls, starring Ed Helms and Janet Schmieding. Before that, this was the town of Grandview for the show Ghost Whisperer. And we've also been doing a lot of filming out here recently for both Quantum Leap and Ted. In fact, if you take a look out to the right-hand side of our tram, there's a pink and orange building there. It says Antonio's on the window right now. It was recently turned into a Dunkin' Donuts for Ted. And then this fire station set to our right-hand side, that was constructed for Ghost Whisperer. The main character's husband was a firefighter, so they built that set for the TV show. And just a couple months ago, they were actually out here filming a major motion picture. The third film in Ty West's X series called Maxine was doing some filming out here. So I'm really excited to see what that all looks like when the film hits the big screen. But with that, we're going to leave the small town life behind for a while and head back into the big city. Welcome to New York Street. Now, as the name would suggest, this area has been seen as New York in many movies and TV shows throughout the years. We can use these sets as just about any big city that we need to, but it is called New York Street. So let's hear more about this area from a native New Yorker, Mr. Jimmy Fallon.
Hey everyone, welcome to New York. I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighborhood. Once got mugged over there. An old one. Tough lady. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey buddy, how's it going? Remember me? No. Just like old times. Gotta love New York City. Hey, I'm walking here! Hey, it's cool guys. I was just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Even if you make it here on the Universal lot.
That's right. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Not only can these sets be any city that we need them to be, they can also be any time period. I mentioned that Quantum Leap's been doing some filming out here recently. That's a time travel show. They had this area dressed up to look like the 1970s and 1980s when they were here filming. When Disney filmed Captain America, the First Avenger out here, the movie was mostly set in the 1940s. So some of the easiest ways that we can change the time period of what we're filming out here, we'll dress our actors in the appropriate clothing, we'll change the signs on the buildings, and we can even easily switch out the street here on our Metro sets. So it'll give you a great idea of where else you've seen these sets throughout the years. And really quick, I'm going to pause it on that image right there. If you take a look at the top of the screen, you can see the tarp covering the buildings. And then the white lines that you see up towards the top of the screen, that's all the sunlight peeking through. So this is just a production still while they were filming Streets of Fire, but here's what the finished product looks like.
Nice place, huh?
The stuff that we could film here on our Metropolitan sets. Tell us a little bit more about what we're going to see next is director Peter Jackson.
It's the original King Kong that made me want to direct movies.
saw that movie on TV when I was about 8 or 9 years old. I wanted to become a filmmaker. I like films that just take you away from your real life and sweep you up in adventure. Kong literally does that. I mean, you're on board a ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from, prehistoric times. So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island, and it's great to have you along for the ride. Now, we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to have your glasses ready. Don't put them on yet, but just have them in your hand because we're about to return to Skull Island.
All right, my friends, things can get a little wild here on Skull Island, so while we're inside, please stay seated, hang on to any loose items, and keep your arms and legs inside the tram. Oh, and no flash photography or video. It makes the animals just a little angry.
We really put a lot of thought into the character and personality of Kong, and he's so much more than a monster. In fact, he's not a monster. He is incredibly majestic.
The audience is in the middle of the environment. They're looking in all directions. There's creatures coming at them. They're seeing Kong from this side and T-Rexes from the other side.
Working on a movie, we always know that people are looking. They're looking straight ahead. They're looking at the shot that we're working on.
Here you have to take into account that people are looking in all directions.
Also, one of the things about this ride, unlike the movies that we're used to working on, there's no cuts because it's one giant shot. This tram that's driving the line through Skull Island is where the camera's from. This ring represents where the screen is 10 meters away. They're really creating about 50 minutes of a feature film. That amount of visual information, that number of pixels, and presenting them to the audience. It's incredible.
Including the distant future of 2015, like in Back to the Future Part 2, or even the Stone Age, like in the Flintstones. Those cars from the Flintstones are what I like to call our eco-friendly cars because they don't run unless you do. For my Harry Potter fans on board, we have the Ford Anglia from Warner Brothers Harry Potter, the Chamber of Secrets out there. It was one of 17 and a half cars they used to film that movie. The half car was used for close-up shots. And the newest addition to our lineup here is the Fry's Electronics van from Jordan Peele's film Nope. Right next to it from Jordan Peele's film Us, we have the boat The Crawdaddy. And this tank-like vehicle from Transformers is our Bradley fighting vehicle. That's not made of any metal. It's made entirely out of plywood, and that makes it a lot easier to transport around on set and use for whatever stunts they need it for. You might have also noticed that we had the gyrosphere from Jurassic World out there. Ours here looks a little bit different than the ones you saw on screen in that movie, and that's because ours doesn't have any glass on it. A lot of the gyrospheres that they used for filming didn't have glass because they didn't want to pick up the reflections of the cameras in it while they were filming. So they digitally added that glass in post-production while they were editing the film. If you're a fan of the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies like I am, I have a very exciting treat for you.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Tram, don't worry, it's totally safe. They're all in their cages. Oh, the cages are empty. Okay, sure, it's fine. They're probably just down on the lower lot visiting friends. Oh, look at that! There they are! Aw, they're saying hi. That is so cute. And coming up on the left, we have our Spinosaurus smiling nice and big for us. I like to call her our Halfosaurus because it's just the front half of the dinosaur. Now, if you've seen any of the Jurassic films, especially the first one, you'll know that weather plays a pretty big role in those movies. The entire reason they were trapped on the island to begin with was because of a hurricane. When we're filming intense weather sequences like that, we don't want to send our casts and crews into actual dangerous conditions. So we have teams here in the studio that can create those weather effects for us. Hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, whatever the scene calls for, we can make it happen. Well, I don't know about you, but I think it's time we head out of the woods and back into civilization. So we're going to make a quick stop up here in Old Mexico. You've seen our Old Mexico sets in movies like The Three Amigos with Steve Martin and Martin Short, Nacho Libre with Jack Black, and Lady Gaga also filmed her Judas music video out here. And I actually have a friend, his name is Flash, and he works in the weather department at the studio. He likes to hang out here in Old Mexico sometimes and do fun little weather demonstrations for the trams. I don't know if he's here today. We'll hang out for a second and see if he is. And oh, I think he's here today. Hey, Flash, you're gonna do a thunderstorm effect? It sounds but I don't know, I feel like it's missing something. I think you can step it up a little bit. There we go, Flash. That looks awesome. Thank you. If we take a look up in the trees and on top of the buildings, you might be able to see the sprinklers where that rain is coming from. If you can't see them, note that they're setting the water up into the air a little bit versus down to the ground directly. That just allows it to fall a little bit more naturally. It looks more realistic on camera that way. If you've ever tried to take a picture or a video in the rain, you might know you can't always see it, and it's due entirely to the lighting. If you want to see it on camera, you have to light it from behind. Okay, Flash, that's perfect. You can turn it off now. Thank you. Flash? Oh no, look out, Flash. Congratulations, everybody. You just survived our flash flood. This is our longest running attraction on the studio tour. It was incorporated in 1968, and those effects can be seen on screen in a classic film from my childhood, Big Fat Liar.
Sí, sí.
And as we head out of Old Mexico, we're now headed into the Old West. Welcome to 6 Points, y'all. Our 6-point sets have been used in some of the biggest classic westerns with stars like Jimmy Stewart and Clint Eastwood. In more recent years, this area was seen on screen in Quentin Tarantino's 9th film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, starring Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. And we've been doing a lot of filming out here recently for Quantum Leap as well. Now, since that is a time travel show, while they were here filming, they had this area really dressed up to look just like the Old West. One of the easiest ways that we can do, though, at these sets is just by bringing in tons and tons of dirt and laying it out on the streets here. And that makes it look a little bit more authentic and a little bit less like a road that tramps travel on every day. Now, most of the sets that you see here are more facades like we saw over in our Metro sets. So once again, we can really only use these sets to film exterior scenes. Any interior scenes that we want to film here have to be constructed inside our sound stages. And if you take a look at the doors on either side of the tram, you might notice that some are a lot taller or a lot shorter than others. That's something that we call forced perspective. If we needed to make a character appear bigger and stronger, we would place that actor in front of a shorter door. If we needed to make somebody look maybe a little bit more scared or more frail, we would place that actor in front of a taller door. The two actors could be the exact same height, but because the doorways are different heights, the actors look very different. And our tour is now approximately at the halfway mark, so I just wanted to remind everybody to stay seated during the entire tour. The studio is private property, so if you drop your phone or you just can't wait to use the restroom, pull the red cord to get my attention, and I'll be back to assist you, but please do remain seated on the tram. As we come around this corner, take a look across the water here to the left-hand side of our tram, and you'll see a few more of our brand new sound stages. Those are currently home to The Voice on NBC. Season 23 wrapped filming recently, but they will be returning for season 24, as will Niall Horan, one of their newest coaches. And this little lake that we're next to right now is what we call Park Lake. It was used in the film Showboat, as well as a few episodes of Desperate Housewives and The Good Place. Most famously, though, it was seen as the Amazon River in Creature from the Black Lagoon. And if you want to see what I looked like this morning before I did my makeup, take a look at your screens. Now, Creature from the Black Lagoon is one of our classic monster movies here at Universal. Those films were our bread and butter from the 1930s through about the 1950s. And
Are dead.
cool.
This location, the afterlife, come on. I have never ever seen this. You're in the good place.
I'm not supposed to be here. I can't risk going to the bad place.
Okay, well, maybe it's not all that bad.
Hi there. How can I help you?
What is the bad place like?
Well, it doesn't sound awesome.
Not only are we in the good place right now, we're also in the beautiful country of Genovia. We're traveling the parade route from Disney's Princess Diaries to a royal engagement. Disney also used our little Europe sets to film scenes for the Pirates of the Caribbean films. We just passed through parts of both Port Royal and Tortuga. Now, coming up on the right-hand side of our tram, you'll see a courtyard here. This is what we call our Court of Miracles. Even though we use the entirety of our Little Europe sets to film our classic monster movies, our Court of Miracles here truly was the birthplace for characters like Dracula and the Hunchback of Notre Dame. And speaking of the Hunchback of Notre Dame, that movie actually turns 100 years old this year. Now, one of the reasons why we would stay here and film on our Little Europe sets rather than filming on location, it's just a lot more convenient for us to stay here. Our Little Europe sets can be any country that we need them to be simply by changing the languages on the signs. So we just passed through Transylvania from Dracula, Germany from Frankenstein, and even Egypt from the 1932 film The Mummy. And much like with our 6 Points and Metro sets, most of the sets that we have in Little Europe are more facades. So it's a great spot for us to get all of our exteriors filmed, and then we can head back over to our front lot to construct any interior scenes inside our sound stages. In addition to facades, we do have another type of set here on our lot that we call a practical set. The gray house off to our left-hand side is our Denver house, and that's a perfect example of one of those practical sets. That just means that unlike a facade, it's completely constructed on the inside as well as the outside, so we can use a practical set to film both interior and exterior scenes without moving into a secondary location. If you take a look at your screens, you'll see a few more examples of facades versus practical sets. Some of these are in 6 Points and some of these are in Little Europe. As you can see, the quote-unquote inside of a facade is mostly just some scaffolding being used to hold up the front of the building. There might be a few levels there with staircases or ladders leading up to them. That way if we need to film a scene where a character is looking out a second or a third story window, we can do it a little bit more safely. And the next couple images that you'll see are one of our practical sets over in 6 Points. There's the exterior of the building, and there's the interior that was used as the Opera House in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The street that we're on right now is what we call Denver Street. This was originally built as an extension of our 6 Points Old West sets. Basically, all that's left of the original Denver Street are these facades here to our right-hand side. But the reason this area was called 6 Points was because when it was built, there was actually 6 different western streets out here. They all connected at one point, and each street had its own saloon, jail, bank. It was basically a standalone. You know, it's still summer, it's Southern California, it's always beach weather, so we're gonna take a nice relaxing trip to the beach together today. Yes! Luckily for us, the beautiful seaside town of Amity is located here on our back lot, and Amity means friendship. Isn't that sweet? Now listen, I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute, Sid, isn't Amity the town with the shark problem? Yeah, it is. It is. But don't worry, they caught the shark. Yeah, he's over there hanging out, smiling. Just to be safe though, we do have a diver out in the water today. His name is George. He's just gonna be swimming around out there, making sure everything's okay. And it's actually his last day on the job today. Yeah, he's retiring. We're gonna throw a big party. Oh no. You all see that out there too, right? Is that a second shark in the water? Hey, George. I'm so sorry to bother you. Can you just check on that and make sure everything's good? Oh, that's disgusting. Kids, cover your parents' eyes. Okay, we're gonna find somewhere safe to hide. Up here behind these flammable gasoline cans looks perfect. I do want to remind everybody though, please stay seated, because if you stand up, the shark might see us, and that is not good. Great job, Bruce. Wonderful work as always. Bruce is our shark here at Universal. We named him that because it's the nickname that Steven Spielberg gave to his shark while filming the movie Jaws. He named the shark Bruce after his lawyer, Bruce Raymer. And if Bruce the shark sounds familiar to anybody, the Disney Pixar film Finding Nemo, they paid homage to us here at Universal by naming one of their sharks Bruce too. Now, our shark here does what we want him to do when we want him to do it, but Spielberg's shark was a little bit more of a diva on set sometimes.
That's a much boring shark. The shark was frustrating. It didn't really work all the time. It didn't work hardly at all.
Wherever you were, you could hear the radio waves. They were always saying, the shark is not working. Repeat, the shark is not working.
We just waited around. We just waited and waited and waited.
The shark was well enough. For a while there, it was slightly over shark a lot.
Yeah, even though the shark wasn't always working, Ivan in the end, he did his job very well. Jaws was a huge success and also helped us coin the term summer blockbuster. They intended to release the film in the winter. It's out here. This is another one of our residential streets. It's called Colonial Street. Colonial Street is a little bit better known as Wisteria Lane from Desperate Housewives. Coming up on the left-hand side of our tram, this purple house was used in the TV show The Munsters. And the yellow house next to it with the green trim is the main character Davy's house in the Netflix sitcom Never Have I Ever. Now, most of the houses that you see here on Colonial Street are something that we call semi-practical sets. That just means that they might have 1 or 2 rooms constructed on the inside, usually on the ground level, so we can do a little bit of filming in these homes. But for the most part, they are facades, so we do have to construct a majority of these interior sets inside our sound stages. We do have one fully practical house here on Colonial Street. It's the very last one on the right-hand side at the end of our cul-de-sac here. It was used in a TV show called Abby's, which was about a backyard bar. Not only is that house fully practical, they also held a live studio audience in there while they filmed. If you take a look at your screens, you'll see a few more places where you might have recognized Colonial Street throughout the years. Picture cars out here for ya. Right up front, you can't miss him. It's Bumblebee from Transformers.
Oh.
The little green coupe hiding behind him is Mr. Bean's car. We have Dom Toretto's Dodge Charger from the Fast and Furious movies out here, as well as the orange Julius from Too Fast, Too Furious. That was actually the very first car that Vin Diesel ever drove on screen in the first Fast and Furious movie. It just had a different paint job back then. And that beige car all the way in the back was used in my favorite movie of all time, the 1999 film The Mummy. Now, if you ask me, it's really convenient that we have that parking lot there because it backs up to this super cute little bed and breakfast that's here on our back lot. It's called the Bates Motel. I've never stayed here before, but I've heard really great things about it on Yelp. But the manager, Norman Bates, mixed reviews on him. I hear he's a kind of a psycho. Now, don't worry, Norman Bates is not doing any redecorating here at the motel. We're just getting set up for our Halloween Horror Nights event. But we are going to continue up this psycho path to see one more original set piece from the 1960 film. We're now approaching the Psycho House. You'll want to have your cameras aimed out the left-hand side of our tram and pay close attention to all the windows on the front of the house. You might see Mother up there. If you do happen to see her, feel free to take all the photos that you like. Oh no. Oh, Norman Bates is home. Okay, you know what? We're just gonna breeze right on by. Nobody make eye contact. It's gonna be fine. Oh, what do you have? A knife? No. Norman, I knew you were trouble. Oh no. Oh no, car 4, I'm so sorry.
No, don't.
Oh man, that was a close one. We got out of there just in time. That Norman Bates, he is just plain scary. And speaking of plain scary, check out this crash site here. This is from Steven Spielberg's 2005 film War of the Worlds. Here to tell us a little bit more about this area is set designer Rick Carter and director Steven Spielberg.
The airplane crash site set is a perfect example of a set that is all designed around the vision that Steven had.
When we first began to sit down to talk about the War of the World, I thought, what if the 747 goes down the right in a big neighborhood? Because it's just something you don't see.
You're doing good. You're doing good. Keep noticing me. That's right. Now listen, I want you to close your eyes, okay? Please. Down close. Robbie, get in. Get in.
Now, should come as no surprise. Here at Universal, we like to work with award-winning directors like Steven Spielberg. One of our most recent collaborations has been with Oscar winner Jordan Peele for his newest film, Nope. And I am so excited about this next part of our tour. We're going to take a trip to the actual sets that were used in the actual sets of Jupiter's Claim that were used in the film Nope. Here to tell us a little bit more about what we're going to see next is Jordan Peele.
Movie magic only happens when a team of collaborators, often in the hundreds, work together to take an impossible mission and bring it to life. This is Jupiter's Claim, a nostalgic, small-time Southern California amusement park owned by former child star Ricky Juke Park. Over there, look into the winking well and have your picture taken just like the kids in that old 90s movie Kid Sheriff. That's what this whole place is loosely based on. Remember that one? No? Well, I do. A little further down, you can see the brand new Star Lasso experience. Built to showcase an unbelievable new live show. It's not looking so live anymore. Anyway, behind this Hollywood fantasy, our gold rush frontier town hides a sinister secret. It is smack dab in the center of the UFO hotspot. Welcome to the world of Yo.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that as the cue for us to get out of there. Hey Art, can you turn the key and peel out of here for us? No, I don't know about you all. That whole thing honestly has me just a little freaked out. So I think we should find somewhere safe to go, kind of regroup and just, make sure everybody's doing okay. And actually, yeah, you know what? This truck repair place over here looks like a pretty good spot for that. And I think there might even be a family in here that can help us.
Yo, tengo Calderón.
Alright, y'all, while we're here inside Sullivan's Truck Repair, I don't really know what to expect, so please stay seated, hang on to any loose items, and keep your arms and legs inside the tram. I think it's probably best that we just, err on the side of caution while we're in here, and that's really strange. Getting a signal cutting? Never happened before. Hello? Hello, who is this?
My name is Roman Pierce. Pleased to meet you. Buddy Hobbs asked us to stash you from Sean for a while. So we brought you in our secret spot.
Alright, look guys, we're gonna keep Shaw from finding you, but to keep you safe, we need your help. We don't want the syndicate tracking us here, so put away your cameras and turn off your cell phones. One flash or one